My name is Hamsa Daabjeerin and you are watching the Security Update. These are the stories making the headlines in this episode. Somalia Prime Minister inspects Takistan Military Training College. Somalia, Kenya to intensify war on terror. Somalia arrests 14 for deadly attack at Mogadishu military training camp. ATMI says first phase of troop drawdown in Somalia successful. Welcome to the program. The Prime Minister of Somalia, Hamsa, who went to inspect the Takistan Military Training College in Mogadishu, gave the Gorgor Battalion orders as they continued their training. The Prime Minister of Somalia, Hamsa, who went to inspect the Takistan Military Training College in Mogadishu, gave the Gorgor Battalion orders as they continued their training. The Prime Minister pointed out that Takistan College produced officers and soldiers who made security changes in the country and restored the confidence of the Somali people in the armed forces, which led to effective victories in the war against Al-Shabaab and liberated the country.
ciidamada gorgor ammaan aad u weyn ay leeyihiin darsi iyo cashir cusub bay bareen khawaarijta iyo cadawga Soomaaliyeed intii ka shahiiday Ilaahay baan uga baryaynaa jannadii.
Prime Minister Hamsa, while talking to officers and deputy officers at the training center, mentioned that they carry weapons to protect the defense of the country, the religion and the people, and therefore they are required to avoid everything that harms their reputation. He also pointed out that the Gorgor Brigade of the Somali National Army is an important part that has played a good role in the liberation of some regions of the country and is expected to eliminate Al-Shabaab from the remaining areas they control. Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud had a meeting with the National Anti-Money Laundering Committee to discuss the substantial strides achieved in disrupting the financial networks of Al-Shabaab group. Somalia President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud held a meeting with the National Anti-Money Laundering Committee to discuss the substantial strides achieved in disrupting the financial networks of the Al-Shabaab group. During the meeting, the committee presented their accomplishments, notably raising awareness among the Somali populace and effectively weakening the group's capacity to extort and exploit local businesses. President Hassan Sheikh underscored the imperative of confronting Al-Shabaab on three pivotal fronts: economic, ideological, and military. He emphasized that securing victory on all these fronts is paramount to achieving the full liberation of the country from the group's influence. Further affirming the government's dedication to countering Al-Shabaab, the president visited the headquarters of the National Security and Intelligence Agency to observe their proactive efforts in safeguarding the nation. Somalia and Kenya have agreed to intensify operations against Al-Shabaab following talks between officials from both countries in Nairobi. Al-Shabaab, an Al-Qaeda affiliated group, has been carrying out deadly attacks in Somalia and Kenya for more than a decade. The group also targets security forces from both countries as well as civil servants. Somalia and Kenya have agreed to intensify operations against Al-Shabaab following talks between officials from both countries in Nairobi. Al-Shabaab, an Al-Qaeda affiliated group, has been carried out deadly attacks in Somalia and Kenya for more than a decade. The group also targets security forces from both countries as well as civil servants. According to the Somalia news agency SONA, Somalia President's National Security Advisor Hussein Maalim has held discussions with his Kenyan counterpart Monica Juma. The officials discussed wide-range issues including ongoing operations against Al-Shabaab and border security. The development comes barely 3 days after Somalia Prime Minister Hamsa and Kenyan President William Ruto met in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, to discuss bilateral trade relations as well as border security. The two leaders agreed to boost trade relations and the fight against Al-Shabaab. Kenya sent its troops to Somalia in 2011 to fight Al-Shabaab, which it accused of abducting tourists from Kenya's coastal regions. Somalia Prime Minister Hamsa attended a meeting in Mogadishu's Heliwa district to strengthen cooperation between security agencies and the Panandi region administration. During the meeting, the Prime Minister emphasized the government's special focus on the security of the capital, Mogadishu. Somalia Prime Minister Hamsa attended a meeting in Mogadishu's Helwa district to strengthen cooperation between security agencies and the Panadi region administration. During the meeting, the Prime Minister emphasized the government's special focus on the security of the capital, Mogadishu. He cited the gathering in Helwa district as evidence of increasing awareness and community cooperation, which had been challenging to achieve for a long time. The district has long faced insecurity since Al-Shabaab ousted Mogadishu in 2011. The district has been described as a place where Al-Shabaab is strong. Prime Minister Hamsa highlighted the positive impact of cooperation between security agencies and the citizens of Mogadishu on the city's security. As a result, all districts are now safer to visit. Since last year, the federal government forces have been launching operations against Al-Shabaab, claiming to have liberated several strategic villages from the group and pledged to wage the second phase of the war very soon. According to the Ministry of Information of Somalia, Somalia National Army conducted a major operation on the border between the Middle Shabelle and Galgaduud regions, killing at least 100 Al-Shabaab fighters. But we will be back after the short break.
Making documentaries is one of the most creative craft and challenging endeavors you can be involved in. It is an effective strategy to inform, persuade, educate, defend the perspective and shed light on various issues, policies and activities. At CBA TV, documentary production is our forte. We capture every TikTok detail of events in highest resolution to tell the story you care about, from politics to human angle, research-based content, educative and informative. We also help you project your story in a dynamic perspective that attracts the world views of the target audience, as there is no better or more powerful way to place the organization's values and achievements than to make an excellent documentary film. No doubt, our strength lies in these ventures, and we pride in many award-winning documentaries which have been earning accolades across Africa and beyond. Let's tell your story.
Welcome back to the program. According to the Ministry of Information of Somalia, Somalia National Army conducted a major operation on the border between the Middle Shabelle and Galgaduud regions, killing at least 100 Al-Shabaab fighters. According to the Ministry of Information of Somalia, Somalia National Army conducted a major operation on the border between the Middle Shabelle and Galgaduud regions, killing at least 100 Al-Shabaab fighters. According to the government reports, the operation targeted members of Al-Shabaab group who had been regrouping in the area to plan attacks against both troops and civilians. During the operation, the army neutralized the militants and destroyed their weaponry, panicked 7 vehicles and demolished their base, as stated by the ministry. However, Al-Shabaab did not comment on this latest incident. The government also highlighted that numerous Al-Shabaab fighters were also killed in recent operations in the Pai and Juba regions, and asserted that the efforts to combat Al-Shabaab will persist. Somali authorities have reported the apprehension of 14 individuals in connection with a fatal suicide bombing at the Jalasiad military training facility in the capital city, Mogadishu, which occurred earlier this month. Somalia authorities have reported the apprehension of 14 individuals in connection with a fatal suicide bombing at the Jalasiad military training facility in the capital city, Mogadishu, which occurred earlier this month. The attack resulted in the loss of numerous lives, including those of newly recruited military personnel. Among those arrested are soldiers, senior commanders, and the academy's commander. They will be subject to legal proceedings in due course. Federal Parliament Speaker Adan Muhammad Nur Madobe recently raised concerns that individuals within the military camp may have played a role in the treacherous attack. He called for a prompt and thorough investigation into the matter. Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility for the attack, asserting that it counted the deaths of 73 soldiers and left over 120 others injured. However, the government has not released an official count of the casualties at this time. Military commanders of the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia have wrapped up a 4-day meeting to evaluate the first phase of troop withdrawal from Somalia, which they said was successfully implemented. Military commanders of the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia have wrapped up a 4-day meeting to evaluate the first phase of troop withdrawal from Somalia, which they said was successfully implemented. The army said that the meeting held in Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia, was attended by contingent commanders of the 5 troop contributing countries, including Kenya, Uganda, Djibouti, Ethiopia, and Burundi, during which they also discussed threats posed by the Al-Shabaab group in the country.
Consistently ensure that whether jointly or singularly as ATMIS, we continue ensuring that the mandate is delivered in the manner in which it is provided, and the key elements include degrading Al-Shabaab. The next one is protection of civilians, ensuring that we give access and escorts to humanitarian assistance, and of course mentoring SSF, and not forgetting issues of supporting stabilization.
Officials said they also discussed the upcoming withdrawal of 3,000 troops, which is expected to be completed by the end of September. The allied forces are currently planning the second phase of joint military operations against Al-Shabaab, following the completion of the first phase, which liberated chunks of territory in central and southern Somalia that were under the control of Al-Shabaab. And with that story of the military commanders of the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia wrapped up a 4-day meeting to evaluate the first phase of troop withdrawal from Somalia, which they said was successfully implemented, we'll wrap up our program for this time. Thank you very much for being with us. This is me, Hamsa Daabjeerin.